Alright, so today on the bench I have a Squier Classic Vibe 60s Jaguar, and this is in shell pink, and it's a 2021, so it's a relatively new guitar. Again, shell pink with a gloss polyurethane finish, maple neck, C-shape. So from the nut, which is a bone nut, all the way to the bridge is 24 inches. So normally Strat Fender stuff is 25.5. This is 24 inches, so they call it a short scale. The fingerboard, this is Indian Laurel. And 22 narrow, tall frets. Perloid inlays, the dots. Perloid markers. Alnico single coils, designed by Fender. Okay, so when the switch right here is down, then this is what turns your pickups on. And this is your volume. Boy, that's really fretting out. And so then when this switch right here is up, then this is your volume and your tone. So again, now with this down, your volume is right here. So it's a little bit confusing. I'm pretty sure this is the first front speaker here. Now you've got all three of them are off, or both of them are off. This, I believe, would be this pickup. And this is like a series parallel switch or something. So, there you go. It gets a little bit confusing. The only way that I could really make sense of why they designed this like this is, let's say you're down here and you're playing something. You're playing a lick, and then for some reason you want your guitar to go quiet, like instantly quiet. Then you hit this button and you have these volumes turned down. So instead of reaching down here and turning your volume down a little bit, then all you'd have to do is hit this switch for your volume to go down real quick. So that's the only sense that I've ever made out of how they wire these things up. But I'm going to go ahead and pull the strings. I'm going to raise this bridge because our string height is really low and it's buzzing all over the place. And we'll throw a set of, maybe we can put Fender strings on it. So here we go. Let's get started. Okay, let's get these strings off of here. This has the vintage style tuners, so the strings just lift right out the top. Makes it easy. Okay, now I'm just going to cut the strings. These strings aren't bad though, but it is a used guitar that I just bought. And so I try to restring everything that comes in. And still, see that it still has the plastic over the bridge assembly here. Now here's one thing that I kind of want to experiment with a little bit myself, and that would be this tailpiece. So this thing lifts out of here, and it has two little pieces in the end that screw in here, and they have a little tip to them, and they're meant to pivot back and forth like this. So sometimes, you look at this bridge and you're like, what the heck? But it's supposed to do that. And some guys will, when this guitar came in, this was decked out all the way down. I can see it's still got the plastic over the pickguard. But I wonder if I should pull that off. Because it's under, I'm going to just pull this off. Damn, man, 2 layers of it. After a while, this pickguard will fade, and you'll be able to see that sticker that was on there. There we go. So yeah, this thing is intended to sort of shimmy back and forth as you whammy. So there is that. All right, so for the strings today, go ahead and roll the jingle. String choice. We've got Ernie Ball, super slinky, 9 through 42. Now, let's think about this for a second. So the lighter the string, shorter the scale. You know what? I think this is a bad decision. Because when you have a shorter scale, you don't have to turn the string that tight to get it in pitch. So the strings are going to feel real loose on a shorter scale. So I think I'm going to get a heavier string for this one. So I'll be right back. Okay, so you guys might be freaking out at this, but I am going to put on 11 through 48, the Ernie Ball Power Slinky, because I think on a shorter scale, it's just going to be less tension, and the strings won't be flopping around so much. So I think on this guitar, an 11 gauge string is going to feel perfect. Alright, so I almost forgot the fun part, and that's putting some F1 oil on here. So I'm just going to put a little bit on a paper towel and smear it on. And this fretboard, again, like I mentioned, it's Laurel. Indian Laurel. Is that what it's called? I have a whole sheet of all the everything here. So pink, maple neck, tinted gloss urethane neck finish, C-shape, 24-inch scaling, Indian Laurel with a 9.5-inch radius. So, you know, sometimes I think the hardest part about building guitars is just getting your hands on the lumber. I know that Gibson has always had a tough time buying the right lumber, and some companies like Godin up in Canada, you know, they have their own forest with lots of Canadian maple up there. But over in Indonesia, where this guitar was manufactured, I guess the Indian Laurel is an easy wood for them to acquire. Unless it's maybe some sort of conglomerated wood product. I know they're making stuff like that too. But Indian Laurel to me sounds like, and you guys can let me know in the comments. But to me, Indian Laurel sounds like it would be something from India. The truss rod's nice and tight. So here we go. Shell pink is kind of a cool color. I like it on something like a Chevelle, right? Not a Chevelle, a Charvel. This is a good color for, like, if you had it on a Charvel or one of those 80s Super Strats. This would be a fun color. And pink guitars aren't necessarily intended for just the female guitar player. Nowadays, there's a lot of females that are like, dude, no. Do not hand me a pink guitar. Playing surf rock or something like that, this would be a perfect guitar for that. Okay, our D string is the 28 gauge. And so they just load right in the back here. It's quick and easy. The saddle has a nice groove where it lays down in that saddle. This guitar does come with a bone nut. Let me double check that. Nut with a string nut, they call it, bone. So how cool is that? On a Squier. And then, of course, our high E string is an 11 gauge. So yeah, I think putting 9s on this would be a mistake because it's just going to feel like wet spaghetti under your fingers. Those little mini, you know, the Fender Minis, the little 3/4 size guitars, you have to use at least 11 gauge strings on those things. Now my high E string here, I'm not even going to cut any of it off. We can just wrap it around a whole bunch of times. Yeah, so if we look closely at the bridge here, you can see that it pivots back and forth as you whammy. And it was designed to do that. So there are a couple of guys that have restrung these, and they want to roll those little screws all the way up so that it kind of lays flat and it doesn't move back and forth like that. But I'm pretty sure that they're intended to do that. I think this saddle screw right here, I think it's vibrating on the front of that. Yeah, it was. This is just one of those guitars that, you know, if I'm playing a guitar, I don't want to have. I want my string to be more secure than to just be able to do this to the strings. And so this is what has always sort of bugged me about these designs, is that you can literally take your string and move it around there like that. It doesn't lock down or do anything that's, you know, it's just, to me, it's kind of a weird design. But some guys love these things. All right, so there it is, all strung up. I think the 11 gauge strings was a good idea. Well, there it is, guys. The string height is a little bit high, but for somebody blasting through chords and stuff like that, it'll be fine. It can always be lowered again, but there it is. It's going out into the showroom. I'm going to try to sell this thing, and wish me luck, guys.